Welcome back, everybody, to our continuing adventures on the Let's Define platform. Today we are tackling, I believe this is a mirror exercise. By that, we are hitting SOC176 RDP Brute Force Detected EventID 234 type Brute Force for March 7th, 2024, 11:44 a.m. underneath the Security Analyst Path. There is a similar case that I've already worked underneath the incident responder path for much the same thing. I don't remember if it's the same host or not. Let me see. Yeah, it is underneath the incident responder path. It is, again, SOC 176, but the event ID is 126. It is a different source address and a different destination address as I'm looking at this. I will include a link. Actually, no, I really don't have to, because it looks like it's a different address all the way across, so it's not really going to benefit anything. So, okay, never mind. It's just a similar detection, just everything else is different. Just another RDP brute force. So again, question is, why does the organization allow RDP from the internet? Why? 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 Okay. So this so it goes to Matthew, everything else like that. If we take the 218.92.056 and dump it into the on-platform threat intel, we get malicious for March 8th. If we take it into virus total, we find out that it's a Chinese IP address and marked malicious at phishing by a handful of vendors. We dump it into VT, or not VT, but Talos. We get that it is on the spam house block lists. It's got a poor sender reputation and untrusted for web rep. OTX. 50 pulses. Jeez. Brute force hosts, everything else like that. Yeah, so giant shock that we're getting a detection for RDP brute force. Gray noise doesn't have anything. Abuse IPDB does have the fact that, again, that it is a Chinese address, and it has not changed its ways, apparently, at all. SSH brute force. So basically, it is a known brute forcer. Okay, so if we go ahead and take a look at log management, we will see that utilizing the China IP address starting in 218 and searching across everything in log management, everything is entirely focused on this Matthew system, the 172.16.17.148, and I believe all of them utilize the 3389 destination port, which is the default RDP port. So let's see. They are trying to log in as admin. Guest. Okay, let's look for the OS logs and not the firewall logs. Admin. Admin. Guest. Guest. Sysadmin. 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 Matthew. And bingo. Matthew. And Matthew. So to confirm, Yes, there was a successful login to the Matthew account after trying admin, guess, sysadmin, and then 2 other attempts that failed for Matthew. Hooray. So it looks like 1144. Does that match up with the detection? March 7th, 2024, 1144. Yep. And so we are looking on the actual host. March 7th, 2024, 4 a.m. No browser history. Terminal history. We get a command window. Who am I? Net user. Let's defend. So they're basically taking a look at the Let's Defend user. They are taking a look at who's in the local administrators group. And then they're running a netstat. So there's our brute force activity. 11:44 and 29 seconds, 32 seconds, 37 seconds, 51 seconds, and then we move on to 11:45. So processes, if you would please. So let's try to get the 44, 42, 43, 44. All right. So what do we try to do here? VNC server? Win login. Services, AT broker. There's our command window. We get Google Update. Command. Who am I? All right, so there's all of that. We don't have a hash for set up, but it looks like basically just Google was updated. So local group administrators, local group administrators, and then they ran netstat. And then it looks like it just kind of drops off the face of the earth. Of course, maybe they turned off the host, powered it down. It's like, hey, something kind of weird here. Don't know, it just stops. So we had unauthorized access. I doubt, unless Matthew's been traveling, that, well, okay, let's take a look. This was March 7th, 2024. Let's see, Jennifer. Anything Matthew? March. No. What if Matthew was a good employee and he actually sent it in advance? Like, hey, just FYI, I'm gonna go take a look at the Great Wall of China. I may sign in. That looks to be a fat negative. Okay. We're going to consider the host compromised because they were able to actually get in. So we're going to quarantine the host. And this, unfortunately, we're not going to have a whole heck of a lot to roll with. because all we have is the fact that we have multiple attempts. Oops. Mute tab, so I don't get the ding if we get everything right. So let me grab that for notes. I'll clean that up later when I'm going to sit there and copy and paste that into the video description. Okay, so let's take ownership. I think we've run this effectively to the ground. So we're going to create a case. And what do we have? Ultimately, what do we have? Source IP address is external. Is the attacker IP suspicious or not? Yes. Search for the attacker in log management. Is there a request from the attacker IP that targets the server's SSH or RDP port? Yes, it's RDP. And not server, it's a workstation. Determine the scope. Try to establish with multiple servers clients as the target. No, it is specifically to Matthew's IP address. Was the brute force attack successful? Yes. Underneath log management, we were doing a search for the attacker's IP address. 3389 is the port, and we were looking at the OS level logs to actually get the relevant information. As when we looked at the firewall portion of logs, we didn't get anything in the raw log. Should it be isolated? Yes, we've already done that. Lessons learned. How did the attack happen? We apparently allow workstations to have RDP publicly exposed to the internet. Why? Oh, I don't know. Somehow the attacker became aware, began brute forcing RDP, and managed to somehow get into Matthew's account. So does that mean Matthew is reusing a password for the organization somewhere else and it showed up in a data breach? Or was it just an extremely weak password? Since they only made 3 attempts, and I think they got it on the first one, so that's kind of sad. How well did staff and management perform in dealing with the incident? I don't know. How did we do, guys? I mean, if this had been kicked over to Tier 2, then that might be something, which technically it probably should anyways, because it was a successful attack. I mean, we got an alert. We investigated. I mean, if this were the whole aspect that it took over a year to actually look into, yeah, okay, that'd be kind of sad, but thankfully, it's effectively just like the time machine. We went back to that particular point because the machine's just never shown back up since and generated logs. Staff and management do differently. You need to VPN into the actual corporate network to attach to your workstation via SSH or RDP. There should be no publicly accessible services that don't actually need to be publicly accessible. RDP being a big one. Corrective actions to prevent. Yeah, exactly what I just said. If we're not expecting any sort of use from China, from Iran, North Korea, South Korea, basically GeoIP tailoring, and allow a list of whom we might potentially expect. So maybe just go with default deny, and if somebody needs to actually get into something, then we'll see about adding them to an allow list. Precursors or indicators to be watched for in the future to detect similar incidents. Whatever we've got right now might help with threat intel, to be looking for hits for leaked creds. And thinking of which, can we just put Matthew in here and see if anything shows up? Like credential leak or something? Oh. I mean, we can. Doesn't give us anything that we actually want, though. No. Data type. No. Yeah, so, okay. Nope. That's fine. But yeah, some threat intel aspect to sit there and start looking for the creds. Or maybe it's just, maybe they didn't get lucky on the first one. It was just timing as to how the log showed up. So maybe it was the third try that it went through, but something more for leak creds. Stronger password requirements. Realistically, all we have is the attacker's IP address, sadly. Well, I guess if we wanted, we could see about things like fail to ban, or fail to ban. Although I think that's, do they have that for RDP? Maybe deploying like the CrowdSec agent if nothing else is able to. I'd be kind of interested to see as to whether or not if that would actually pick up on the brute forcing and actually take some more steps to actually stop. But yeah, that's realistically all we have is just the brute forcing China IP address. China IP brute forced the password to Matthew over RDP after trying the user accounts of admin, guest, and sysadmin. They were able to successfully auth and access the Matthew host via RDP. Confirm. Maybe. I've got to replace this really, really old Dell wired laser mouse. I think I finally went through the left click button. Okay, close alert. We've still got the message that we had. Nope, it didn't trigger. There we go. And we got confetti, and the crowd goes wild. Results. IP reputation check, enrichment and context. Hooray. And this one again, PDF that runs through the cyberlearn.academy, which again, I can never access, so I'm not going to bother. So there we go. From, I guess I should say, March 7th, 2024, 11:44 a.m. This has been the medium difficulty SOC Analyst exercise of SOC176 RDP Brute Force Detected, EventID 234, type Brute Force. With perfect marks, apparently. With All that being said, I will see everybody in the next video.